Happy Halloween from Natty Daddy here among the coffins at Old Gray Cemetery in Knoxville, Tennessee. Despite the Old Gray getting its name from a literary source, no, it was not named this pioneer cemetery when it was first opened. It was not named after the Confederates or the Union colors when it opened in the 19th century, but it was named after a poem and a poet by Thomas Gray. An Englishman, from where the design of the park originated from. The design of park is not American, but it is designed as a park, not as a churchyard, as was the custom in the day to be buried in a churchyard. This cemetery was designed with the people in mind, as a sort of park that not only the dead can enjoy under the quiet of a tree, but also family and relatives can come and picnic, throw down a blanket, spend some time among the graves of old grandma or grandpa. Despite its literary sources and beginnings, there's few very literary artists or artists of any sort here in the Old Gray Cemetery or park. Many of the pioneers are here from Knoxville, walking among these coffins here, these stones here. You will find many names along the streets if you happen to drive here, or if you have to go somewhere here. There's many names that will ring familiar. What actual artists the Old Gray Cemetery has are not the artists you may think of when you think of Knoxville. You will not find Cormac McCarthy here among the stones in Old Gray. He's buried in Ireland. You will not find Alex Haley among the stones here at the Old Gray. He's buried in his hometown of Henning, Tennessee. What you will find here at the Old Gray are relatives, family members of famous artists like Perez Dickinson. Not Emily. She's buried God knows where in the Northeast. But you will find Perez Dickinson from Amherst, who was a first cousin or an uncle, a relative of Emily Dickinson, the famous New England poet. But see, Perez Dickinson sort of had his own claim to fame, and he was proud of it. Sure, he'd acknowledge his ties to Emily as the university kept pestering him, and who he contributed to quite nicely, thank you. Perez Dickinson was proud of himself as a Knoxvillian, as a resident of Knoxville, not as a cousin or family member of Emily. And he should be. Perez Dickinson founded Island Home on the south side of town. He was a farmer and a businessman on the south side. The gorgeous neighborhood where today the Tennessee School for the Deaf resides, on that ground, was once owned by Perez Dickinson. Oh, you'll find politicians here, famous politicians, governors, mayors here at the old Pioneer Cemetery, whose actions not only affected the great state of Tennessee, but in many ways kept the Union together after the Civil War was done. There is buried here a lot of characters from the Civil War. I think you'll know what I'm talking about. Mark Twain made fun of one such character that was a prominent figure here in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you ever read Life on the Mississippi, Twain comments about one of the local characters here in Knoxville that had a long-standing family and property dispute. Further down the road at the Old Gray, sorry for the interruption, my phone died. No, I did not run out of electric, I ran out of data. Oh, give anything to get my mind back after this lovely year in the motherland. Speaking of mothers, if you are a fan of English author Frances Hodgson Burnett, she's not buried here. She's buried over in England, I believe. France or something like that. Despite living a childhood here in Knoxville, Tennessee. While Frances Hodgson Burnett, author of Secret Garden, is not buried here. Her mother, again, her mother is buried here. Finally, I leave you among the coffins here at Old Gray, much the way I found you. This is Belle Coffin, the wife of Thomas Williams. A fine stone indeed. Oh yeah, and this is her husband. That's her husband right there, see? Yeah, Thomas, what's his name? Let's see, Thomas Lanier Williams. There you go. And this is the man who wore the pants in the family, obviously. His wife, Belle Coffin. Now, what's interesting about this couple there and there, two things. One is, I'm not sure why old Belle isn't buried with the rest of her tribe, her family over there, where the other coffins seem to be buried. She is buried here on the other side of Old Gray, despite their dates, the dates of the deaths here being very, very similar. Could be because old Belle wanted one final curtain call before she ascended to her throne among the heavens. You see, this lovely couple gave birth not to a coffin, but to a Williams. This is the grave of Cornelius Coffin Williams, the father of Tennessee Williams, playwright, internationally renowned American playwright. As for Tennessee, I don't know. Last seen in New Orleans, perhaps. I don't know. But he's not here.